Quiet quitting is sold to you as leverage. It is the opposite. Marcus stopped raising his hand in March. By April, Christine had opened his performance file, the same file HR pulls at calibration season, and added one line. She is his manager. She did not schedule a meeting about it, and she did not call HR. No argument, no resignation, no scene in a conference room. He simply stopped volunteering for the work nobody else wanted, and the system logged it in under a month. That is the whole trade. Withdrawal is the cheapest thing that will ever happen to your employer. It is also one of the most expensive things that will ever happen to you. Here is the line Christine wrote. And later, the exact move that stops a line like that from becoming the only record of your last 9 years. Start with the years before March, because that is where this goes wrong. Everything Marcus did well left no trace. That is not a figure of speech. Think about what his job produced. A client who never escalated. A launch that never slipped. A payment system that never went down at 2 in the morning. Every one of those is an event that did not happen. An event that does not happen generates no ticket, no incident report, no post-mortem, no thread with 40 replies, no number anywhere. Go further back. The Thursday he caught a pricing error in a contract 20 minutes before it went out. There is no record of that Thursday. There is a signed contract and a client who stayed for 6 more years and nothing at all connecting the two. The vendor who almost walked in year 4. Marcus spent a weekend on it. The company has a renewal and no memory of a weekend. For 9 years, Marcus was excellent inside the one category his company has no instrument to measure, things that were fine. Then he stopped, and the stopping produced data immediately. A missed deadline has a date on it. An unstaffed project has a name attached. A meeting where nobody volunteers has a silence in it that 11 people feel at the same time. His care was never legible. His withdrawal was legible in under a month. That asymmetry is the entire mechanism. An institution cannot read levels. It can only read changes, and almost nobody sees it while it is happening to them. Which is why Marcus waited 8 months for an answer about his salary band and got a calendar invite about his engagement in 3 weeks. Same company, same manager, same person. One request moved at the speed of a budget cycle. One observation moved at the speed of a raised eyebrow. But the line Christine added has a date stamped on it. 9 years of things that never broke do not. So the withdrawal is visible. Fine. Most people who reach this point have already decided they can live with being visible. The problem is not the visibility. It is what the visibility is made of and who is holding it. First layer, the record exists and it is not yours. A performance file is written by the company, stored by the company, and read by the company. It exists to justify the company's decisions to the company's lawyers. When you walk out of the building, it does not walk out with you. You will never read it. You cannot correct it. You cannot carry it to a competitor and say, here is what I prevented. Every hour Marcus spent being reliable went into an account he has no access to. Every hour he spends withdrawn goes into the same account, on the other side of the ledger. Right now, you are running this against your own years. Keep that number, you will need it in a minute. Second layer, this is the one that reframes the whole thing. Your price was never set in that building. The rate for your role gets determined by 8 things. Company size, industry, role complexity, meaning budget, headcount, and how much breaks if you are wrong. Talent supply, years of experience in general, years in that specific role, location, and your track record of performance in a similar role. Read that list again. Your current salary is not on it. Your age is not on it. Your rent is not on it. Which is how the same job title, doing the same work, pays $50,000 at one company and $120,000 at another. Not because one of them is generous, because 8 variables landed differently. That gap is also the answer to the thing people say when they are talked out of leaving, that every company is the same. Every company is not the same. Every company is a different draw on 8 variables. And the spread between the low draw and the high draw is somebody's entire mortgage. Marcus never saw that list. 9 years in the building, and nobody in it had a reason to show it to him. Now count with me. 7 of those 8 are facts about the market. You cannot move any of them from your desk on a Tuesday. The 8th one is a record, track record of performance. The only variable in the formula that belongs to you personally. And it is the exact one that stops accumulating the day you check out. There is the trap, fully assembled. It costs your employer 1 line in a document they own, and you will never see. It costs you the 8th factor, the only one you are ever holding. This is where the second half of the damage arrives, quietly years later. When Marcus finally interviews, the market is supposed to price the role. He cannot evidence the eighth factor, so the conversation defaults to the one number the formula was never meant to include: what he is being paid right now. Your value does not have to make sense next to your current salary. You were a different person when that number was set. The market may have moved since. You may have been underpaid on the day you signed. Any one of those is enough to break the link. But breaking the link requires proof. Without it, 9 years of underpayment gets treated as a valuation, and it follows you into the next contract and the one after that. There is also a specific shape this takes for people who stayed a long time. Years of experience sitting at the top of the scale, while role complexity, talent supply, and demonstrated track record all sit near the bottom. That shape has a name in recruitment, and the name is overqualified. Age has nothing to do with it. It is a profile with one variable maxed out and the rest empty, and the empty ones are the ones a record fills. That is Marcus's shape right now. 9 years stacked on a single variable, nothing written down on the other 7. Put a number on what all of this costs at the moment it matters. A single open role pulls somewhere around 500 applicants. The average time spent scanning one resume before a decision gets made is 7.4 seconds. Harvard Business Review put it more precisely. It comes down to the first 15 to 20 words. 9 years, 7 seconds. Marcus has to compress a decade of things that did not go wrong into 15 words for a stranger who has never met him, using numbers he no longer has a login to reach. He does not have those numbers. He never wrote them down because nothing was ever on fire, and it did not occur to him that the absence of fire was the product. That is one mechanism, start to finish. There is another one every week, and they stack. Subscribe. Now that you know where the record lives and where the price is decided, there is one shift that changes both at once. It has nothing to do with Christine. Withdraw emotionally. Escalate on paper. Move 1. Trade. Never refuse. Marcus went straight from yes to silence. There was a step in between. Say no once after 9 years of yes, and the room resorts you inside a week. Reliable becomes a liability, and that sorting tends to be permanent. So do not say no. Name the exchange instead. I can take that on. Which of these two comes off my plate to make room for it? Refusal reads as attitude. A trade reads as prioritization. Same protected hours, opposite entry in the file. And the sentence is itself the documentation because you sent it in writing and the answer came back in writing. Move 2. Convert while you still have the login. Once a month, take one thing you did and run it through 3 questions. How many? How much? What changed downstream? Handled client escalations becomes handled 40 escalations a quarter across 12 accounts and cut repeat complaints by a fifth. Kept the reporting clean becomes rebuilt a weekly forecast used by 9 people and cut 4 hours of manual rework off every Monday. Same work. One version is a job description. The other one is the 8th factor in a format a stranger can price in 7 seconds. If you think your work cannot be quantified, you are answering the wrong question. Every job on earth answers those same 3. Yours included. Do it monthly from inside while the dashboard's still open for you. The day your badge stops working, every one of those numbers sits behind a login you do not have. Marcus is finding that out now. Move 3. Set your walk number before you need it. Your walk number is the figure below which you decline. Most people never calculate 1, so it defaults, silently, to whatever they are currently being paid. That default is how a bad salary becomes a permanent one. Build the range from outside sources instead. Public salary data, people in the same role at other companies, recruiters who cover your function. Then put your own number at the top of that range, not at the bottom of your history. But here is the reversal on everything you have been told about documenting your work. You are not building any of this to win an argument with Christine. You will not win it, and her document does not decide anything about the rest of your life. You are building the 8th factor, the portable one. Christine's line said, less engaged this quarter. 4 words, in a system Marcus cannot open, written by someone who never had an instrument that could measure him in the first place. It follows him exactly as far as the parking lot. What follows him further is 9 years he never converted into one sentence he can say out loud in 7 seconds. Detachment was never the mistake. Nearly everyone arrives there eventually. Detaching with nothing written down is what turns a bad year into a bad decade. Stop caring. Care was never priced and never recorded. Do not hand back the one thing that was. Because the number was never in that room. Not in Christine's file, not in your review, Not in the 4 seconds someone said your name in a meeting you were not invited to. It was always outside the building, sitting on a curve, waiting on a record you were too tired to keep. And the next building runs the same instrument. It measures movement. 9 steady years read as nothing there too. If you are still working out whether what you are feeling is a phase or an exit, that call has a checklist, and most people are further down it than they think. There are 5 signs, and they arrive in a fixed order. The video on screen right now walks through all 5. The third one is the one almost nobody catches, because at the time, it does not feel like a problem at all. It feels like security, one mechanism, every week.